It's time to take a ride on the Steelers Afternoon Drive with our co-hosts, Alan Saunders and Zachary Smith.
In the van, we're going for our Steelers Afternoon Drive. I'm Zachary Smith. That is Alan Saunders on his drive. Alan, how are we doing?
I'm doing really good, Smitty, and I think I sound even better.
Yeah, you joined, and honestly, I noticed it as you were asking me the question about how you sounded, that you sounded different. What gives here? What do we got going on?
I promised you guys I would look into it, and I have purchased a better microphone, so hopefully, I don't think it matters so much on morning rush because it's just me, so it's not that big of a deal. But the contrast between my AirPods and UNDB, especially on Fridays when you have your professional mics, is not flattering. So we fixed
I
it.
think I appreciate the investment. I'm sure the people that watch or listen to this also are going to appreciate the investment. Now he's got to make sure this isn't on you, obviously, but sometimes just because of the area that you're in, I don't know what we could do about that. But we lose you sometimes. Honestly, it doesn't even happen on my side of things. It's on just the recording, which kind of stinks because I wish I knew when that happened all the time because people always bring it up in the comments. But it is what it is. Microphone quality great now, so we appreciate the
one thing at a time. You got to leave the people wanting more. You can't give them everything they want all at once.
Well, I'll be honest, Alan. I wish we had all of, and not just a little bit of information in regards to this TJ Watt thing that I want to start off with, because we always start off talking about the injuries, especially the first practice day of the week. And how is this not the lead of what we're going to talk about here? TJ Watt with a lung issue that apparently happened when he was getting treatment for something the previous day. They didn't practice, but obviously he was still in the building getting treatment for something, and then had to leave to go to the hospital to be treated for this lung issue. I mean, this just sounds so ominous. I know that we're not going to have a bunch of information. Not sure how much should even be said about it right now, but obviously got to pick your brain on what in the world happened here.
Yeah, so here's what I know. We'll start there. Watt was at the facility on Wednesday, complained of some kind of issue with his lung. Was taken to the hospital. Talked to Mike Tomlin last night. Tomlin, at that point, he told Tomlin he was feeling good. So this doesn't seem like this is a thing where, luckily, he appears to be in any real danger. I mean, updates have been positive anyway. Talked to Artie Smith as well. Said, he seems like he's doing okay. But is still in the hospital, or at least was as of early this afternoon, and getting tests done there today, per Mike Tomlin, that will go some way in terms of determining his status going forward. The Steelers haven't officially ruled him out of this Monday's game against the Miami Dolphins, but I mean, I don't know how many guys have ever played in a game 3 days out from being in the hospital. That feels almost absurd to ask at this point. The bigger question is, what's the prognosis for the rest of his season? And for that, we remain in the dark.
Yeah, and again, I really don't want to speculate on this, but I'll be honest, just with what was going through my mind at the time, first initial reaction went to the Tyrod Taylor situation that happened with the Chargers, Justin Herbert's rookie year, how Herbert actually got on the field originally in week 2. And I guess if you go down a similar path there, if that's indeed what it was, I believe Taylor missed 4 games in terms of the process that it is to reinflate that and stuff. I was actually talking to somebody that has some familiarity with it. It could be upwards of 6 weeks, just depending. So, I mean, yeah, obviously, hopefully that's not the case. Just that's the first thing that went in my mind.
Yeah, I did a little search on NFL lung injuries, and the only 2 I could come up with in recent years was Nick Scourton of the Carolina Panthers actually suffered a collapsed lung in practice this training camp. Ended up missing about half the season. So you have that, and then the Tyrod Taylor injury. Now, the thing about Tyrod Taylor is that happened right before a game when he was getting a pain-killing shot so that he could play in that game. I'm not saying it didn't happen, but I would be curious as to why TJ would be needing a pain-killing shot on an off day Wednesday. That seems strange. So we'll see. I mean, it doesn't do a lot of good to speculate, but those are, at least in terms of injuries that I'm familiar with, things that could happen. I mean, obviously you can have other injuries too, where like you broke a rib and then you can have all kinds of other, but the way the injury is being presented is that the lung is the only problem. So that pretty well narrows down what the options can be.
Yeah. And I mean, I think because of what you're saying, it's probably the reason that like there was the line of questioning towards Mike Tomlin that there was in terms of like, was he getting treated for something else? And that's why this happened? Or like, how did we get to the point that this even occurred, that he suffered a lung issue being treated?
Tomlin did clarify that he wasn't dealing with any injury issue other than that, either before or after the Ravens game. So, I mean, certainly lots of guys get pain-killing shots all the time, but and not on a Wednesday when you're off. Like that to me, in my experience, would be pretty unusual.
And I know you're not going to have, I feel like, an answer to this, but just based off, Mike Tomlin saying about hopefully today getting more testing and maybe by tonight have some type of idea. Like, do you feel like there's any type of timeline towards when we could see an update or another statement put out?
Well, I'll have to check the media schedule because it's all over the place this week, but usually tomorrow is a Thursday. If tomorrow's a Thursday schedule, which I don't know, the coordinators talk today. Usually they talk Thursdays. If tomorrow's a Thursday schedule and Tomlin will not be available, so the next time he could give an update would be Saturday. Of course, the team can provide an update whenever they want, but sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. I don't know. Obviously, they took a fairly unusual step of having Bert put out a whole press release today when he was first announced as being in the hospital. But, I mean, your star player suddenly being in the hospital, it's weird that it's happened twice this week, that's for sure.
Yeah, you know what? Because of the nature of the situation, I'm not even going to make the joke, about weird happening twice. And
if I had two nickels, yeah. I mean, it is weird. There's no question that you're like, man, what's next? Like, there's a bizarre set of circumstances there.
Mm-hmm. I just feel like the last, week or so between practice and the game in Baltimore, like the injuries that this team has sustained lately within the last week has certainly been mounting. Hopefully, as we go through here, we get some guys on the mend. Derek Harmon working his way back. Still didn't practice today. He seemed optimistic that he would be able to return. Should we read anything into him not participating today, though?
No. Although, I mean, I would characterize today's practice as like pretty light. Certainly no pads. Indoors again.
So it really wasn't like the Wednesday practice just pushed back today. Like it wasn't that type of practice.
No, it really wasn't. That's probably not super encouraging, but he did talk this morning, and I'm sure he knew at that point he wasn't going to practice today when he said he was optimistic. So I guess we'll take him at his word for it.
Some other DNPs. Andrus Peat obviously still going through the concussion protocol. Here was a DNP. Ben Skoranek with the hand. We'll see about that one. We've mentioned, could he still get a helmet even if he's unable to play receiver just for the special teams ability? And then James Pierre, DNP.
Actually, I think Skoranek, good to point out, hand and finger very different. You can catch the ball with a broken hand. You can't catch the ball with a broken finger.
Is that what we think this is?
Well, I don't know. I'm just saying like that. Okay. There's a picture on the site. If you look at the injury story from today from Ed Thompson of him walking off the field after the game, and he has like a little bit of a like splint kind of on like the palm of his hand, and like the corner of it's wrapped around his thumb, but it sort of looks like all his fingers can still move around in there. So that might actually be encouraging toward him being able to do most of his job. But let's be honest, it's not like they throw the ball to Ben Skoranek a ton anyway. So
Sure. Yeah, that would be great. Obviously, hopeful that he's able to go. And then James Pierre with a calf was the other DNP here.
Yeah, I was one of those expected to be limited in the early portion of the week. He finished the game, so I assume he'll play.
Okay. Limited participation, no surprise here. A couple guys that are also working their way through the concussion protocol. That's Darnell Washington and Malik Harrison. I'll be honest, kind of encouraged by the fact that Harrison, even a limited participant. Again, we talked about how scary that looked. You never know how obviously guys are going to respond, but just to think like this guy was out cold just 4 days ago, encouraged by him being able to participate in limited capacity. Darnell Washington, we know how massive he is for what this offense can do. I mean, the dynamic totally changes, and honestly, the game plan totally changes whether or not you have him in the lineup.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if they're still cautious with Harrison. Again, a very light practice, no hitting, so easy to be limited.
Okay.
Washington, I think I feel better about. Marco Bali put out that he did some off the field event last night. I think he visited some elementary school kids or something like that.
Okay.
You're not doing that if you're in the dark room phase of the concussion protocol, right? Like you got to be feeling
good point.
pretty good if you're going out there and doing extracurricular stuff. So I think I feel better about Darnell Washington's chances of playing, but we'll see.
And then full participation from some guys that we were certainly going to be keeping an eye on was DK Metcalf, listed as abdomen, I believe, correct?
Yeah.
So the stomach issue was very non-committal, didn't really want to talk about it, just basically saying I'm good with every question that he was asked in regard to it. Patrick Queen with the glute, obviously full participant. Aaron Rodgers, Kyle Duggar, full participation. That's obviously good coming back again, understanding that it is a light practice. Y.A. Black with the shoulder, and then Keanu Benton dealing with the ankle thing. Anything to say about those guys? Maybe some clarification because of it being a light practice, or do you think that it's still them being full participants is good, good news?
Yeah, I mean, DK didn't get much of an update from him, but I mean, given the sort of, again, scary nature of whatever he was dealing with in the hospital in Baltimore last week, good news that he was out there. He seems to think that he's fine. Kyle Duggar, great news that he's a full participant for him playing this week. Seems like he's trending in that direction. All the rest of these guys, I think, are pretty much fine, right? YA and Benton. Is there somebody else? There's more. Patrick Queen. Yeah, I mean, he's going to play. The question will be, is he 100%?
Whatever they're giving him, they're going to have to keep giving it to him. Not sure what he's on right now on game day, if it's just a Twitterall shot or what's going on, maybe some horse tranquilizer. But again, I'm not saying that he played his best game as a Steeler this past Sunday, but most impressive to me considering everything.
I agree with that.
So, yeah.
And that's not an injury that's going to go away either. He's probably going to deal with that the rest of the season at this point.
Mm-hmm. All right, good stuff. We'll monitor the injuries throughout the rest of the week, obviously, and see how that affects game statuses. I know that you said you didn't talk to the coordinators. I didn't know if there was anything that you saw, on social media pop up or anything like that you felt worth discussing here. And then if not, some of the players talking, obviously. Today was very interesting because it was kind of like a Wednesday, Thursday hybrid day with coordinators speaking, but then the practice, some of the players speaking that did. So I just didn't know if any of those conversations, coordinators or players, stood out to you.
Not a whole heck of a lot. I think it's interesting. In my business, sometimes there's these obvious storylines that you just know that everyone's going to write about, and sometimes everyone's going to write about them because they're really good, and sometimes they're just obvious and everyone just takes the obvious one. And for me, the obvious story this week is the Minka Fitzpatrick trade. We talked all the way back in the summer when this trade happened about, oh man, circle that date. That game is going to be the talk of the town. And there's no juice there. Like I don't feel it anyway. Do you?
No.
I have like no interest in writing about that right now. A lot of questions for TA about Minka and Ramsey, and I feel like it's just a different guy back there, but pretty much everything else is the same.
Yeah. I mean, he certainly didn't help add to any of the juice with, what was it, like a 5-second response in regard to playing against the Steelers. Basically said it's only big because it's a game. Like,
Yeah, Minka really said, basically, nameless great faces. It's a big game because we're in it. He just took all the Tomlin points and regurgitated them, which is cute, but not really worth writing. I thought, actually, the most interesting thing I've seen on this storyline, and I will probably write this, was Tua was asked about knowing Jalen Ramsey knowing him, and those two, especially considering how much it really is sort of free safety versus quarterback. That doesn't apply the other way, of course. Rodgers, he played against Minka last year, but no relationship there. Do think that one's a little more interesting, but of course Ramsey wasn't playing safety when he was with Miami, so it's not like Tua's practiced against him in that role. I mean, maybe you kind of know the guy's personality a little bit, but I don't know how much that helps you on the field. I think probably the bigger advantage is for Ramsey, but at least that's interesting a little bit, is that you have these two guys who practice against each other, now go against each other. How much does he know? I know what he knows, but I know that he knows that I know, kind of thing, and you can kind of talk yourself into it being an advantage one way or the other, and then maybe you talk yourself out of doing the things that you do best just because they know that. And so I think that part is a little bit intriguing, but like in terms of just like teeth gnashing over the trade, I've kind of got nothing. It feels like a wash.
Yeah. He knows that he knows, and he knows that he knows that he knows. And we all know about cold weather Tua. And I'm very excited to talk more about that when we get into the preview and predictions. But the results have not been good for Tua Tagovailoa. And I don't know if anybody's looked at the early forecast for this upcoming Monday night game. But very cold weather expected on Monday night.
I did love the article from the Palm Beach Post, which is all about Tua's record in cold weather games, includes his record in games below 55 degrees. That is, to the Palm Beach Post, cold weather games. If it was 55 on Monday, there would be people outside of Acrisure Stadium sunbathing.
What's that guy walking around in shorts for? Yeah.
Half the stadium would be in shorts if it was 55.
Yeah, I might be one of them.
I might be one of them.
Yeah, especially like in that environment, like you're around so much body heat, like it's gonna feel probably warmer than 55. Moving around that much, oh heck yeah, I'm probably in shorts.
Probably. And a night game, so not you specifically, but you all got a lot of room to get tuned up beforehand. You could be feeling nice and internally toasty before that kickoff. There's.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to
55.
All the
I also remember many, many years ago, I went to a Steelers game against the Carolina Panthers. I had an aunt and cousins who lived in Charlotte, and went down there to go to a game, and it was in like maybe October. It wasn't maybe early November. It wasn't late in the year. And we went to the game, and it was kickoff temp was like 65, 70 degrees, and they gave away scarves at the game. I just thought it was hilarious. We're all wearing shorts and a T-shirt, and the giveaway was scarves. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, man, they should do something to like troll the Dolphins now that I'm thinking about it for this one. Just leave like a bunch of scarves and gloves and stuff on the away team bench or something like that for them when they get to the sidelines.
I feel like the gamesmanship part of that used to be a lot worse, where you would hear stories about like the hot water doesn't work in their showers mysteriously. The the benches, have no plastic on them, so you got to sit on a metal bench out there in the cold. Like I haven't heard about any of that lately. I don't know if that stuff still goes on. It definitely doesn't seem like it goes on as much as it used to.
The one thing I did want to point out, and this is a pretty hard pivot from the coordinators today, though, that I thought was interesting was Artie Smith talking about the explosives that they got in the Ravens game and almost like talking about it like they were hell bent on getting them, which I think is super interesting. I mean, they didn't have those, really for like the entire month of November, and then they create a bunch of explosives in this game. I guess I shouldn't say a bunch, but comparatively, 4 plays over 20 air yards. Yeah, 5 explosive plays in general. 4 plays over 20 air yards when you didn't have any for over a month. So I just thought that was interesting that there was that much emphasis put on it in this game specifically. Do you think that was seeing something within Baltimore's defense then? Do you think they just felt like that good about their personnel in that matchup? Like, what was it?
I think it was a couple things. I think it was Baltimore's defense. Certainly they play a lot of single high. They want to stop the run. I also think Baltimore does not have a very good pass rush. So you felt a little bit better about asking Aaron to hold on to the ball a little bit longer. And I just think it was a big picture decision to try to, play a bit of an underdog game. You know what I mean? Like, I think sometimes you have an idea of like, what does the game that we win look like going into the game? You know what I mean? Like, what is the character of a game that results in a win for us? And part of a game plan is trying to get into that game. And I don't think the Steelers felt good about winning a rock fight against the Ravens the way they do against some other teams. Some other teams that are really explosive kind of like want to drag them into the mud with you. I felt like with the Ravens, they felt like they had to punch first, and that's what they did.
Do you think that I guess, are you expecting a similar approach on Monday night because they got the results through the air that they did with the pass attack looking as good as it did, or you think we'll see more of what we had seen?
And I talked about that this morning on Morning Rush. I don't, because Miami plays a ton of cover 2, among the most cover 2 in the league. You are not going to throw downfield on cover 2. Not often. It has to be a different game plan. I would think more Adam Thielen and Pat Freiermuth than DK Metcalf this week.
And obviously, this is maybe asking you a tough question without the numbers in front of you, but do they stick to that cover 2 even if teams are able to run the ball against them in game?
Everybody's been able to run the ball against them. They have the 6th worst run defense in the league. So yeah. 4.8 yards per carry against. They don't defend the run.
Well, I knew they were bad. I guess I was just questioning, have we seen them, even with as much as they're playing cover 2, shift in game if teams are having that much success against them? But I guess the answer to that's no. If they're playing that much cover 2 and teams are running the ball against them successfully, and those numbers still bear out that way, I guess they're sticking to it for better or worse. They definitely have been better defensively in the last month than previous. So we'll see. We'll see how that tracks on Monday. Get into some questions here. We're talking about the run game. Good time to bring up a running back that we haven't talked about in a while, I feel like, Alan, because Chris Burkabile wants to know what's going on with Caleb Johnson. Thought the role might increase as the season goes on. Barely using him. Any insight as to why? Do you feel like they are developing him for next season, or is he just not the player that they thought that they were drafting?
I just think that Kenny Gainwell has been a lot better than they thought he would be. I think they kind of signed Kenny Gainwell thinking he'd be like a very small role, and he's taking reps away from Jaylen Warren now. That was not expected. If they would have known that they're going to be playing Kenny Gainwell 60% of the time, they would not have drafted a running back at all, let alone Caleb Johnson in the 3rd round. So I think it's just a matter of opportunity. There's no reason to want to play him with as well as the other 2 backs are playing. How
do you kind of weigh that? Obviously, when the development largely has to take place throughout the course of practice weeks, and we know what practice weeks are like when we're in season. Like, how much is really even going on a day-to-day basis there. Like, how do you weigh the development of Caleb Johnson towards, Kenny Gainwell has been very good and gives you a better chance right now?
Well, I don't think you care about the development. I also don't think, like, Caleb Johnson really needs developed. Like, I mean, he has things he needs to work on, his route running and his pass blocking.
Yeah.
But he's never in his entire career going to take pass down reps away from a guy like Kenny Gainwell or Jalen Warren. As long as he's in the NFL, if there's a guy like that on his team, he's not playing on third downs. Like, period. Like, that's not who he is. Najee Harris didn't play on third downs with Jalen Warren here either, right? And so, like, I think Caleb Johnson could start tomorrow and would do very well. I don't really think he needs developed. They just need a reason to use him.
Nutter Butters 412 said Adam Thielen playing the second most snaps I wouldn't necessarily consider a surprise in general, but the fact that he had just joined the team at least made me raise my eyebrows a little bit. Do you think it was about the Baltimore Ravens being the matchup and them seeing something, or do you think that it would continue to bear out that way no matter who the team plays?
No, I don't think Thielen and the Ravens were a very good matchup for Thielen. The slot is where they're actually really good in coverage. And that played out by him getting one target. So I would think that you're going to see more Adam Thielen usage in terms of targets this week and more Adam Thielen usage in terms of snap share this week.
Do you think they're going to just roll with the same crew that we just saw this past Sunday on Monday? That wasn't part of the question. I'm just asking you that now as a follow-up.
It may get difficult to bring MVS up with all the other injuries if they need that depth at another position. You can only bring two guys up from the practice squad.
Okay.
So, like, if they're going to have to bring up an offensive lineman if Pete can't play, that's one for sure. They might want to bring up DeMarvin Leal if TJ can't play, and then that would preclude them from bringing up MVS. So that one a bit questionable.
Okay. Yeah, it's fair. Obviously, it would just be Roman back in the fold. Assume getting helmet. Yeah. Joel said, "Hey fellas, getting really tiresome seeing mock drafts from analysts that I respect that don't have the Steelers trading up for a quarterback. Why do you think that is? Where's the disconnect?"
Well, it's because writing a mock draft in December is essentially an exercise in fiction. No one is making any real projection at this point. They're just putting names on a piece of paper for attention. And so you can do whatever you want. It's not like a mock draft with the Steelers not trading up, which, by the way, whether they take a quarterback or not, the Steelers are going to trade up, and they're almost certainly going to take a quarterback. It's just a different wrong. I feel like I'm pretty plugged in with the Steelers, and I feel like I'm pretty good at mock drafts, and I get their first round pick right more often than I get it wrong. And I've even gotten the whole league pretty well a few times. I would give myself about a 1 in 20 shot of accurately predicting the Steelers' first-round pick at this point in the right spot. Like, you're just not doing it. It's not going to happen. It's a pointless exercise. But in terms of, like, why you're, like, seeing the Steelers beat writers talking about the Steelers are going to trade up and the national media not, is because we talk to people inside the building and they don't. Especially the draft media. Like, the draft, the Schefters of the world, they're talking to people on the Steelers. But, like, is Field Yates at this point in the calendar? Probably not. Yeah. So
Field's actually the one I wanted to bring up because his was the one that obviously just came out and has the Steelers taken Mekhi Lemon, which, by the way, would not.
I got to say, Mekhi Lemon at 20 is a freaking goated draft pick. So, I mean, I don't know what they're doing at quarterback, but I can't really complain about that.
But I was going to say, evidenced everything that you just said. I agree with, as evidenced by the fact that he has one trade up in that. It is the Jets just moving up to number 1, and then that's it. There's no other trade in it.
Yeah, there's going to be like 8 trades in the first round. Also, predicting trades even the day before the draft is really difficult to do. Like that's the hardest part about doing a mock draft is predicting trades. It is very, very difficult. And so now, like, good luck.
How'd you do? I know you mentioned about being pretty obviously you're plugged in for the Steelers, and we had the conversation going into the draft last year about which way we were leaning for the first round pick. How did you do lead wide though?
Not as good as I've done before. I don't remember off the top of my head how I did, but definitely not as good as I've done before.
If I would have gone with my heart, because I wanted Derek Harmon, but I ended up settling on Shador for the Steelers. But I had 10 player team fits correct in the first round. So if I would have gone with Harmon, that would have been 11, which would have been the most that I've ever had.
I had a lot of team positions right, but I picked the wrong guy.
Okay.
Like I think I had Harmon and Nolan switched.
Makes sense.
I think I did that with wide receiver too.
Yeah.
Where it was just like I had the guys, I had the right position, but I just swapped where the guys went. And obviously, I mean, I don't know for sure, but I mean, if the Bengals would have taken Harmon, I think the Steelers would have taken Nolan.
Well, I'm glad that didn't happen, and the Bengals went with the guy that they did, who's had as much production as you and I.
It's not worked out so well.
Yeah. Who could have seen that coming? Anyways, good stuff. Another thing that I wanted to bring up here, because it directly applies to something that we need to tell the audience about here. M. Murr said, "Hey, fellas, new to the pod this offseason, just wondering what the content schedule looks like when it's a Monday night game. Thanks." So, yeah, DB and I will be on here tomorrow doing like our normal-ish Friday thing between the two of us. But being that they play on Monday night, Alan and I will be on here Monday, also doing a normal-ish Friday type thing. I'll be sure to leave some content for Monday on game day. And it'll probably also be earlier in the day, maybe actually in the afternoon on Monday.
Might be pretty early in the day, so we can get it some life before the game starts.
Yeah, so there you go, little content update. I'm actually glad that got brought up, because obviously wanted to throw that out there to you guys anyways, just as a programming note in general. There was somebody else I wanted to give a shout out here because they mentioned something. Oh, yeah, we got another person, Brandon, that said we're in his top 3 podcasts, along with Locked On, but another interesting one that was on here was Locked On Cardinals, and I don't know how I feel about that one.
Yeah, that one's tough for me. That's a tough one.
By the way, I believe, not everybody.
Yeah, I know a lot. I know a few Cardinals fans.
Mm-hmm.
There are some good ones out there. The trend ain't great though.
Best fans STL.
Oh, it's a great Twitter account. I mean, I do appreciate the Cardinals fans for allowing that to exist in the world, because that is a great Twitter account.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, good stuff. Great week on here, Alan. Excited to be with DB tomorrow. We'll bring the juice. But until the next time, I assume, are we getting a morning rush tomorrow?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Good.
Yes.
Still had to ask.
And maybe we'll do something on Saturday, because there is a practice. Maybe I'll do something, or maybe I'll have Brendan do something. I don't know. Maybe we'll find some way to sneak some more content in.
There you go. Well, if you guys or hit that notification bell, you never have to worry about it, because you'll get a notification when there is content. So it should keep coming to the channel, and you guys will know about it every single time. But Alan, until the next time that people get to see your beautiful mug on the screen, tell them people where they can find you.
Saunders_PGH on X, Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky. PGH Steelers Now site's account, SteelersNow.com. Go there, sign up for SN Plus. My notes on the road will be out tonight. I promise. Swear. It's like 90% done, and then TJ Watt went in the hospital.
Okay, all right. You
can everything kind of went sideways there. And then subs only live stream Monday, the 29th, 6 p.m. Me, Smitty, DB, maybe some other friends. Should be fun. And anyone can like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications here on the YouTube channel. That's free, and it helps us grow this show and all the rest of our shows to a bigger and bigger audience.
Currently sitting at 17,100, and a couple different ways I could go with this. I feel like last time I went the quarterback route with this number, with an infamous one in 2019. So I'm actually going to go Sean Sweezum.
That's 6?
6. Yes.
Well, I mean, the Bubster,
Yeah.
is the one that immediately comes to my mind.
Mm-hmm. Him and the one I just referenced in 2019, Duck, were the two that.
Yeah, Duck is a very good one. I feel like there's got to be
Presley
more.
Harvin?
Press.
Currently, Patrick Queen, which is odd for a linebacker.
Yeah, that's weird.
Makes it work, I guess. Yeah, I don't know beyond that. There's got to be some others, and I'm sure the comments will let us know about it. But we got to leave some names for you guys.
I'm trying to think back through the backup quarterbacks, and I'm not coming up with one. Maybe a kicker. I think Norm Johnson was 9. Who was the punter then? I don't know. Yeah, I'm not coming up with any.
There's not many, actually. So no one wore the number from, at least according to Pro Football Reference, between Jim Elliott in 67 to Bubby Brister in 86.
All right.
And then after Bubby in 92, no one wore it again until Sean Sweezum in 2010.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. I got to admit, I was a big Bubby Brister fan as a young man. I really enjoyed Bubby.
Like, from what perspective? Like, did you actually think that he was good?
He was fun. He was like a little bit of a wild child, kind of like a Cajun sensibility about him. Was a little bit of like organized chaos on the field, ran around a little bit. And he kind of, at least, in the years that I was really watching the team, there was like some back and forth years between him and Neil O'Donnell. And I always felt like Neil O'Donnell was very like boring. He was just very steady, very quiet, pocket passer, kind of. My like lasting memory of Neil O'Donnell, besides throwing an interception in the Super Bowl, was he always really complained about the crowd noise on the road. And I was just felt like that's like such a like a whiny thing to like be mad about.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I would agree.
Bubby was a very imperfect player, and certainly not a good passer at the NFL level. But he was fun and charming, and Duck was Bubby was a lot better player than Duck, but a very good spiritual successor to the number 6 jersey in Pittsburgh.
Okay. I just feel like Bubby sounds like a short guy. So like for him to be 6'3".
No, he wasn't short at all. He was, in fact, he was like, he was big quarterback for his era. He was
he's listed as 6'3", 215. Yeah,
a bit of a tough guy. Could run a little bit. Could put his shoulder into you. Did fumble a little bit more than you'd want for a guy like that, I would think, including very notably in the playoffs in Denver in 1989. But
strip away the name, kind of sounds like we're talking about Justin Fields. Talked about him not being the best passer, then went into size at the position, being a good runner.
Not the freak athlete that Justin Fields is. More
we didn't touch on that part yet. So now that you're crossing that off, now it's no longer Justin Fields.
Yeah, not a freak athlete. Strong and big and tough, but not that. I'm trying to come up with a good modern Bubby Brister comp. I don't know. I have to think about that for a minute. Nobody's really coming to mind as like a Ryan Tannehill light. Obviously not that good, but sort of the same kind of idea.
I'm so mad I didn't just say it. I was sitting here, I was like, I feel like Ryan Tannehill might kind of.
He had a little more chaos to his game than Tannehill did. He would run around way more than he should, and that kind of thing.
All right. Well, we didn't plan on talking about Bubby Brister this much, but there you go. There's your Bubby Brister fix for the day. So be sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, hit us in the comments your thoughts, anything that we talked about today, including number 6. Yeah. Leave us a 5-star review and subscribe if you're listening somewhere else, Apple, Spotify, wherever you podcast from. You can also comment on those individual episodes now as well, which is very cool. So you can ask just questions there or comment on anything that we talked about today, including everybody's favorite number 6. And then follow me everywhere, Zachary Smith, PGH, Found Saunders, and myself. Thanks for jumping in. Take another ride on the Steelers Afternoon Drive.